Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of From the Margins. I'm your co-host, Violet.
And I'm Connor.
Hello, Connor.
Hi.
Connor, what are we discussing today?
All right, Violet. I'm going to talk to you about Homestuck.
Perfect. I'm currently stuck at home, so that's really appropriate.
Yeah, so many people are stuck at home right now. But none of them like John Egbert.
Isn't he the guy that ran for, president in 2008?
I don't know. That's the name of my mom's boss, though.
Oh, I'm thinking of John Edwards.
Womp womp.
Hey, look at all this low-hanging fruit on the ground. Anyway, John Egbert, who is he? What does he do? I assume he has something to do with Homestuck.
Homestuck is a popular web adventure series made by Andrew Hussey, premiering on April 13th, 2007. Or was it 2009? Oops. I think it was 2009, actually. Uh-oh. Rather than just talk about, plot summary and all of that, what I thought would be an interesting way to enter this episode is to just talk about the mechanics of it, the whole culture behind it, right? Even if you've never heard of Homestuck and have no desire to ever read it, I'm still going to make this fun for you, so don't click off. And Violet, since you don't know that much or really anything about it, you just let me know if I'm being boring or if you have any more questions.
Will do. I will jump in the moment I feel that is necessary.
Okay, so the best way to read this is with absolutely no idea what's going on and just let the story unfold and take you by surprise. What happens is the deeper you get into it, the more complex and interesting and exciting it is. But it really starts off as a bunch of wacky misadventures, because the whole thing is structured as one of those old-timey video games where you type in the command for your character and then it displays a wall of text that shows what happens.
Oh, like one of those text adventure games.
It's literally a text adventure game, yes. That's what I should have said. There's a lot of trial and error in the beginning. It's a really organic way to learn the rules of the universe, because you're stuck with this first kid, John Egbert, and it's his 13th birthday, but it's only today that he's been given a name because, I don't know, I guess it's a weird culture. So he gets his name. It's his birthday. He's waiting to play this video game, and he has 3 other friends that he talks to on his web client called Pester Chum, because you're pestering your chums. So let's just dive in. So Violet, Have you played a lot of RPGs, role-playing games?
Not a lot of them, but I am familiar with them. I've played a few.
Okay, so what Homestuck does is it takes some base mechanics of video games in that vein and makes them overly complicated with a brand new vocabulary. So every time a character gets into a fight, it's called strife. And the weapons that your character equips, it goes into an array of weapons called a strife specibus. I think it's a specibus, Specibus.
I was about to say, I'm trying to spell it in my head, and I physically cannot think of how to spell that.
Right. So John fights with hammers, so his strife specibus is allocated to hammer kind. His goth friend Rose fights with needles. They have this weeaboo anime nerd friend named Dave who fights with swords. And then later on you meet their 4th friend Jade, who's a random astrophysicist living alone on a Polynesian island, and she fights with rifles.
Nice.
Yeah, it's bizarre. The characters have an inventory. This is used for a lot of gags in the first act. Their inventories are called, they're captcha logs. Alright, this is getting way too mechanical, but this is just to show you how bizarre this web series is. You have to captcha log your inventory, and every character has a board game featured captcha log system, which means they can't actually pull items out of their pockets without serious consideration. So that causes a lot of problems with John, because he accidentally equips a bunch of different cakes, and he shoves his inventory full of these random birthday cakes, and he's trying to pull something important out of his inventory, and he just ends up throwing cake everywhere.
Connor, I'm not going to lie. This series feels like it is all over the place from the word go.
It is bizarre. And then it just gets worse. Around Act 4, you're introduced to these people called trolls.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, they literally are just trolling the four main characters. Turns out they're actually an alien species from another planet. That's what makes them aliens.
Gotcha.
And they're called trolls. And if you listen to our astrology episode, then you already know that there are 12 trolls, and each one is based on a horoscope sign. Starting from Aries, you have Aradia, Tavros, Solix, Karkat, Nepeta, Kanaya, Teretsi, Vriska, Equius, Gamzee, Eridan, and Pfeffery. I'm so sorry if my pronunciations don't match what is official or widely popular.
It's alright, I'm sure somebody will roast you in the comments.
The trolls exist in like this blood caste system where the rust bloods are the lowest, so that would be Aries, and the purple Pfeffery, she's in line to be the next empress because she's at the highest caste in the blood system. The entirety of the first part of Act 5 is just the trolls and kind of like a prologue game to the humans game. Oh man, I skipped an important part. So, remember when I said John was waiting to play a video game with his friends?
Yes.
So that game is called Esperb, or Spurb. It's basically suburb with the first U taken out.
Oh.
And it's kind of like The Sims, except what happens is one person is the client. So in the beginning, John is the client, and his friend Rose is the server. I mean, I might have that backwards. But what happens is Rose is able to see John's house on her computer screen, and she's able to interact with his surroundings. Like, she can pick stuff up, she can delete them, and trade them for in-game currency.
Interesting.
But as soon as they start playing this game, meteor showers start falling all across the world. One such meteor is headed straight for John's house, and they accidentally resurrect his dead grandmother through shenanigans.
Just playful shenanigans, resurrecting
And
the dead.
at the end of Act 1, Rose is able to build John's house to like this point where he can pass through into a portal into another world. And then it becomes revealed that the purpose of the game is to get a group of players in a closed circuit to where everybody is both a server and a client to someone else. And once you've closed that circuit and all four of you pass into the different worlds, you then start the second phase of the game where you create your brand new universe.
Weird,
I know. So the trolls, these 12 trolls, they created our world, the human world,
Okay.
Earth. So the 12 of them were in their closed circuit. They ended up creating a world by beating the game, and that was the humans' world.
So, I have a question.
Yes.
Even after closing that circuit and creating a new universe, are they still under the control of someone else? Or does the whole closed circuit thing just completely disappear?
So once you get into, it's called the medium. That's the space you transport into once you complete the first arc. And once you're in the medium, as the client, you still have to be a server to somebody else to get them in. So John, by the end of the fourth act, no, actually it's not until Act 5 that he manages to get Jade, who is the final of the four kids. That's when he brings her into the medium. So he still had to be by his computer helping build up her house. And then once everybody's in, the computer part of the game is basically over. Like, you can still use it to mine for in-game currency and build weapons and stuff. So, like, your house will end up being like a home base because you end up buying all of these machines that let you create equipment and stuff.
Right.
But the real point of the game, which is what we'll get into now, is more of the traditional RPG, where everyone is given, like, it's called a role and an aspect. Now, Violet, you're a little bit familiar with, like, aspects, right?
Kind of, yeah. After our most recent episode, yes.
Okay, so Violet and I did these, like, personality quizzes based on Homestuck to figure out, well, it was to figure out something else, but along the way, they told us, you know, is our lunar sway towards Prospit or Durse, which I'll explain in a minute, and also what our aspect is. Basically what our element is. So, Violet, what was your aspect?
Oh, shoot. I need to go back and look. You said...
It was time, I remember.
Mine was time.
Yeah, you were time and I was heart. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't find like a quiz that told us what our role was, which is basically the same as a class in an RPG. But there are 14 possible classes and 12 aspects. And each one has an important role. Each role is integral to like beating the game and creating this new world. You have the maid, the page, the mage, the knight, the rogue, the sylph, seer, the thief, the heir, Heir, the bard, the prince, the witch, the lord, and the muse.
Nice. Well done.
Thanks. I put the 12 trolls in order and I tried to remember what their roles were. And then the other two are introduced much later. Could I remember the 12 aspects?
I'd be impressed if you could.
All right, so I'm just going to line up the trolls again. Aradia is the maid of time. Tavros is the page of breath. Mage of doom. Then blood. Heart. Space. Then mind. Then light. Void. Rage. Hope. And life.
Nice.
Oof. Okay. And so, your role is what you do and your aspect is how you do it, right? Mm-hmm. John, the main character, he's the heir of breath. So he inherits breath, which basically means what? I don't know. He can use wind powers. A lot of the puzzles he had to solve involved, passing air and like being the lungs of the world.
Gotcha. Because whenever I first heard breath, my first thought was, how does that differentiate with life?
Mm-hmm. So life is literally like healing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character introduced later named Jane, and she is the maid of life, and she is meant to like serve the purpose of, bringing more life into the world, because maids are servants. So she's serving life. Pfeffery is the witch of life. So whatever the witch role is supposed to do, she's aspected by light or life. What? Anyway. So, okay, but now let's get to the real fun stuff, Violet.
Mm-hmm.
When we were at Winthrop together, do you remember any of my tirades about troll romance?
Yes, I do remember your tirades about troll romance, specifically going on a really particularly heated one at the Red Bull on Selenese.
Exactly. So humans only understand love in a single dimension, which is shown by like the use of the card suit heart.
Mm-hmm.
But trolls have different different romance dynamics based on all four suits.
I do remember this. This is really familiar.
What humans call love, the trolls would call a mate sprit ship. And that is, that's their heart quadrant. You and another troll love each other, and that's what locks you into that relationship.
Gotcha.
Directly opposite of the heart is the spade, which is basically hate, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a hate-mance, a rivalry. So that is, it's called a kismicitude, like a kismesis, like a nemesis, but with the word kiss at the beginning. A kismesis, I guess.
That is the weirdest portmanteau I ever.
It's like a kismesis, but I always said kismesis, and that's basically like the person you hate in a romantic way.
Gotcha.
Mate sprits and kismesises, those represent the concupiscent half of the quadrant. You need to have a mate sprit or a kismesis in order to reproduce.
I'm suddenly remembering all the times in high school and college when I would be in a biology class and I'd not understand half the words, and I'd just feel like, cool.
Okay. Yeah, this is like Troll Biology 300.
Oh, God help me. I didn't even pass 201.
So that half of the quadrant is called concupiscent because that will create offspring. Mm-hmm. The other half is the conciliatory half. So the top right, if the heart is the top left, that's called your flushed quadrant because it's like a deep red. Mm-hmm. And right next to it is like a pale red.
Okay.
And that is represented by the clubs. What's the one with like 3?
That's clubs.
It is clubs. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the fourth one? Diamonds. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of diamonds. Okay. Right, because hearts and diamonds are both red. Right. So the diamond is called your auspicious, and they're meant to be like your best friend, your confidant. You go to them with all of your problems with your moirail or your lover, and they pep you up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're like the best friend.
Gotcha.
Next, in the bottom right, we have the clubs, and that is your... Wait, no, I've messed it up. Ugh, Violet,
yes?
I messed it up. The diamond is your moirail, or your moirail.
Okay.
Okay, those are your best friends.
Got it.
And the mate sprit is the lover. Okay?
All right.
Underneath the diamonds and to the right of the spade, you have the clubs. That's your auspicious.
Okay.
And what happens with the auspicious is there are 3 trolls. Two of them hate each other, but not enough to be viable kismeses.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a very delicate thing. It's like you have to hate a troll in a specific way in order to reproduce with them. And if if the hatred is not like romantically viable, then you have to have a third troll who like mediates between you, and that's your auspicious.
God damn, this makes me want to swear off relationships forever.
And it's like, why is this so important? Like, why is there so much detail into this? But literally, so much of the troll's drama can only be understood by like viewing it through the lens of their very particular like romance culture. Because
I kind of dig it.
They're a very bellicose, warring tribe of aliens with like so many issues. And they can't actually sexually reproduce. What happens is at the end of like a season, a giant robot will come by with a bucket, and you have to excrete like a reproductive fluid into the bucket.
Right, like humans.
Yeah. But the only way you can excrete that fluid is if you've filled your quadrants. Like you have to have a mate sprit, and the 2 of you will then be able to excrete that fluid. And if you have your kismesis, the 2 of you would then be able to, you know...
Son, no dessert until you fill your quadrants.
Yeah. Well, all of the adult trolls are off the planet. They're off, like, in spaceships fighting intergalactic wars. So
Gotcha.
It's literally just a planet of a bunch of, like, hormonal teenagers running around trying to figure out, you know, their feelings.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
With absolutely no adult supervision.
It's like Lord of the Flies with aliens and girls.
Yep. Oh, also, there's no such thing as like heterosexuality or homosexuality, because every troll is a viable reproductive partner, because you don't reproduce through sex.
Nice.
So you still have masculine and feminine coded trolls, but like gender doesn't actually matter, even though gender does kind of matter for some reason. Like there are still like gender roles, and Vriska the Scorpio troll will like tell Carcat to stop being such a girl. But literally it has no bearing on their like reproduction. So it's like, why do they have these gender roles, and why do they have like ideas on what a boy and a girl should be?
Right.
Especially since it's a matriarchal power structure in the first place. Like they have an empress. Anyway.
God, that's weird.
So now we begin my anthropological cultural examination. No, just kidding. So, any questions, Violet?
Connor, I have every question. That's the problem. Lord help me. This was just drinking from a fire hose, which, trust me, I am very happy to do. But it's just, woof, I still am every bit as lost. I mean, granted, I have more perspective. Here's a question that I know is going to be like a huge... It's a subjective question, but still one I'd like to hear your thoughts on.
Hit me.
Connor, what is the reason it's such an appealing series to you?
To me? Oh, I love the drama. I love the characters. If you go back and listen to our like positivity in the time of COVID episode, you'll hear me like talk about the art behind it. The way like the author gives each character their own personality quirk and typing quirk and their own like specific grammar. Like it's such solid characterization where by the end of the series you have like 100 characters. And each one feels distinct. There's like no overlap. there's a little overlap because they're like mothers, fathers, and daughters and sons. You know, there are some things that are different, but they all have their own nuance. And
Nice.
there's so much drama. In Act 5, Part 2, suddenly cast members will start dropping dead.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so massive spoilers upcoming. But, like, what was really fun about the introduction of the trolls is knowing that each one is associated with an astrological sign. So obviously you pick your favorites based on, like, you know, who you are. And, you know, I was lucky enough to be born a Scorpio because Vriska is the queen. She's...
Nice.
Oh my gosh. How is she introduced? She's like the creepy bitch or something. The crazy bitch. It's like, be the... So her quirk is that she replaces every use of the letter B or any like long A sound with an 8. And then because she's like spider themed, right? I mean, she's a scorpion, but she's spider themed. So she's like fixated on the number 8. God, she just drives the plot so much. And she's a huge bully. Her best friend is the Libra troll Terezi, and the two of them used to flarp, which is kind of like LARPing, but for trolls.
I was about to say, I was like, what in the actual fuck is a flarp?
And it involves like actual bloodshed. Like you end up killing your like your opponent. Like you actually kill them and feed them to your giant pet.
See, now that's the kind of LARPing I want to watch.
So Aradia the Aries troll and Tavros the Taurus troll were like the opponents of Terezi and Vriska. Vriska took it too far and she like mind controlled Tavros to jump off a cliff, and he ended up becoming paralyzed.
Oh my God.
So as revenge, Aradia, who can speak to the dead, summoned all the ghosts of all the trolls that Vriska has killed in the past to haunt her. So to get revenge, she brainwashes the Gemini troll who is dating Aradia, the Aries troll. She brain controls him to go and kill Aradia. And then Terezi's like, oh my God, it's gone too far. So she blows up Vriska's house. And Vriska loses 7 of her eyes.
Oh my God. Please tell me
And
she
her
wears
arm.
7 eye patches.
Huh?
Does she at least wear 7 eye patches?
So she had 2 eyeballs, but one of the eyeballs had 7 pupils.
Oh, gotcha.
So she just loses, it's basically just like 1 eye.
Gotcha.
And then fast forward a bit, they're playing the game now for real. Aradia is like still around as a ghost. Equius built like a robot body for her ghost to like possess, but he programmed it so that it would be in love with him. So he starts dating robot Aradia, and then she gains sentience and breaks free and just goes and kills Vriska. Oh, and it turns out Vriska was actually in love with Tavros. So, okay, no, this is just getting too crazy now. But yeah, people start dying, and it's dramatic. And the cancer troll is the only troll who doesn't die at least once. That's a lie.
Yay.
He died in an alternate timeline that couldn't actually happen. So like you see it, and then the narrator's like, wah, that can't happen. He's a main character. So he like rewinds it a little bit, and Vriska dies instead. But Vriska comes back.
Oh, fuck Game of Thrones. This is the real stuff.
I say so, yes.
Where is this streaming adaptation?
Honestly, yeah. Crunchyroll, get on it.
Oh my God. Homestuck the anime.
The entire final act is a 30-minute anime.
Oh my God.
It's not voiced though, it's just custom animation and art with like a killer background music.
Gotcha. That's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, I don't even know where to begin. Again, it's just also, I'm noticing the waveforms as I just said that look like little spiders, and that's impressive. I am glad we're talking about this though, because it seems like, based on my understanding of Homestuck, it is very much a boomerang series that it might like go docile for a little while, but it will come back and be relevant again in like a year or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because didn't he just come out with the sequel?
Right, the sequel is uploading now.
Oof.
Like it's not one thing that's been published, but it's like publishing by
Right.
chapters, right?
But the sequel's actively being put out there. Oh Lord.
And there's a
help us.
video game that you can buy, like official.
My God.
There were Homestuck references in Adventure Time.
There were?
Yep. I can't really remember them now, but I think you remember I talked about the giant robot with the bucket.
Yes.
I think that's referenced in like in a Adventure Time episode, like there's a pale knight or something.
Gotcha.
If you look closely in the background of Princess Bubblegum's lab, you see like a Vriska poster.
Mm-hmm.
Marceline, wait, I don't know which one came first, but either Marceline wears an outfit that is inspired by Vriska, or Vriska was first made to look like Marceline because they have like the same hair and gray skin and gray top, blue jeans, and red shoes look.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think as a nod to Homestuck, in one episode, Marceline wears a Vriska-inspired outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it pervaded the culture pretty drastically.
So I'm like looking up the different references right now. I saw what you're talking about with the Bucket Knight too.
Hee hee.
I forgot about that character.
It's been so long.
Aw, I need to go back and watch Adventure Time. Connor?
Yeah?
Is there anything else you really think you need to say to sell the idea of Homestuck or to encapsulate what it is to read and experience Homestuck?
Not really. If you want, I can talk about my personal journey with it.
Go for it, please.
So I only discovered it because like my high school girlfriend at the time put me onto it. And then I shared it with all of my friends, and it like pretty much dictated my senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like my friend Mickey and I, we were obsessed. We even like took our obsession into Winthrop with us.
Aww.
And we were like making Homestuck jokes with each other, and like we made friends with like other losers on the basis of Homestuck. I don't think I made any online friends through Homestuck. I made like some online enemies. You know, I learned astrology because of Homestuck. I learned how to... It was the only online community it was the only fandom I was ever like a part of,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Because I never cared about anything that much ever again. Maybe Teen Wolf, but all I did was read fan fiction. I never like talked to other people. Mickey and I did like a Homestuck roleplay once that never went anywhere.
Oh.
We used to use Pester Chum, the chat client the characters use. We actually like found a copy of it online, and like we used it to talk to each other a lot.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Homestuck, love it.
Sharing fandoms is such a magical thing. I was going to say musical thing.
It's sadomasopedo robo necrobestiality, the quintessential cornerstone of carnal cordiality, exemplary of exquisite delectable depravity, sadomasopedo robo necrobestiality.
That was lovely.
Thanks. I almost said Mitski. Mickey, my friend Mickey, she and I learned the words to that song and made our own video of it.
Oh my god, please tell me that video still exists.
I think it was on Tumblr and I deleted my account.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, sorry. You could have seen me in high school.
I've seen several pictures of you in high school, and I can just imagine you singing that, and it's like the most precious thing in the world.
Yeah. I'm cuter now, though. I'm only getting better with age.
You're aging like wine.
Thanks.
And I'm whining with age. I did not think of that joke before the words came out of my mouth. I'm very impressed. I'm very happy now. This makes up for that John Edwards comment.
Well, I'm done if you are.
I think I'm done too. I don't really have any pressing questions. Thank you, Connor. We talked about it last episode. I asked you to do an episode, and damn if you didn't. I am so impressed and so thankful. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, Violet.
Of course. Now you get to make a request of me to do an episode at some point.
Oh, yes.
Alright, if that's all, then I think we should sign off.
All right.
Alright, love you, babes. Bye.